Hey guys, Lytane here, and did you know that making a video game is a mountain worth of work? So continuing Indie Month, let's have a look at Celeste and see if it's worth it. Celeste was released at the start of 2018, but is not the first game to have that name. Matt Makes Games, the developer, made a simple game called Celeste in a game jam. These are events where developers will make a game in a tiny amount of time with a strange theme or quirk surrounding it. The original 8-bit version of the game shares a lot of the same concepts as the full game. Single screen puzzles, dashes, jumps, and most importantly, strawberries. With such a good concept, the team decided to flesh it out and create the game that I'm talking about today. Celeste tells the story of Madeline, who has suffered quite a few hardships. Vague hardships to be sure, but it doesn't really matter what they are, because Madeline is going to head to Celeste Mountain and climb it in order to prove to herself that she is strong. Along the way, she meets others on the mountain with their own issues and even a part of herself. It is a crazy climb full of spikes, bottomless pits, wind, bubbles, and the most deadly thing of all, clouds. But it's alright because there are strawberries along the way to keep up your vitamins. Celeste is a very simple game to pick up and a very hard game to master. The concept of the game is to climb the mountain by getting to the end of each screen. That could be any side, but it's usually clear where you are meant to go. In order to get there, you will walk, jump, dash, and climb. Those are the only moves you get in the game. The dash can only be done in a straight line, no curves, no bends. It's nice and simple. The climb is just that. Cling to a wall and now you can climb it. You do have stamina though, so after enough holding, climbing, or jumping off of walls, you can't do it anymore and you'll fall. You can also do a wall jump just by jumping off the wall, and there you go, that's all your moves. Well, there are a few advanced moves which use the environment in different ways, and then we have the super advanced moves which aren't needed for the main game at all, but we'll talk about them when they are appropriate. But even with these simple controls, this is far from a simple game. It is a hard game, one of the toughest games that I personally have ever played. Each level will introduce a new way to get around the stage, such as moving platforms that will fling you across the room, or these space blocks that when you dash into them, you go all the way through, or these clouds which give you a little bounce. These are all new ways to get around the level, but your toolkit never changes, and that's what makes this game so hard, yet so fair. Your dash is always the same, so you know exactly what to expect. The environment adds the challenge. And as the game goes on, the rooms become a lot more complex, asking you to perform more precise actions or just many actions in order to reach that end of the screen. The way I would describe the game is satisfying. Overcoming a challenging room feels great. Most of the time your deaths are due to you, though some are annoying environmental parts which are a lot less common. Because you know if you play enough, your skills will get better and then you'll be able to get through this room. There are also no lives, so you can die as many times as you like, no consequences. Though it does keep a count of how many times you've died, which is hilarious to see after you've finished a level. But you need some kind of narrative to bring all this together, and the story here is good. I came to care for Madeline and Theo, the climb and the struggle of overcoming these hardships. There is an underlying subtext as well, which has angered some people of the world because they're silly. Madeline is canonically trans and her anxiety stems from that. It was born due to the creator, Matt Makes Games, going through a similar issue. It isn't in your face, and I love how the story is handled, so to all those haters out there, just shut up. But you may have noticed along the way that you could stuff your face with some collectibles. In the main story, each level has some strawberries for you to find. Many are out in the open, requiring you to go out of your way to get them. Some are hidden in secret rooms which require some investigating to find them. But all offer some kind of additional challenge to reach. You also need to land on solid ground for the strawberry to count, so you can't just dash into it, touch the strawberry, and then die. Doesn't count. But that's not all. There's also a crystal heart hidden very well in each level. I combed through every stage and I only found 2 by myself, so thank you, internet. Also in every level is a super secret cassette tape. These open up the hard mode called B-sides. Yeah, you heard that right. Hard mode. If you thought the main game was tough, well, it's just about to get tougher. Using the same concepts as the A-side levels that it's based on, but they have more spikes and less room for error, and these are crazy crazy. There are no secrets or strawberries though, so you just have to get to the end of the level in order to collect a nice heart. But oh god, they are so crazy and hard. But when you finally finish all of the B-sides, you feel accomplished, and then you realize you unlock the C-sides. Extreme mode. This is where the game just breaks you. The C-sides are much shorter, being only a few rooms long, but they are so much more complex, requiring many more advanced moves and lots of precision. I cannot stress how challenging these are. You can see how many times I personally died just to finish a 3-room level. I did this live as well, so, you know, that's a self-plug for Twitch, I guess. Anyway, completing them finally unlocks the last collectible. The golden strawberries. How do you get one, you may ask? Well, it's easy. You just have to finish a level without dying once. If you die, you are sent right back to the first screen of the level. Yep. But these are 100% optional and there's no trophies or anything attached to them, so just get them out of your own insanity. In fact, I even managed to get a couple. It is highly recommended that you finish all of the B and C sides to prepare you for that final level of the game. Farewell. Originally, the game ended in the core, but this was added to the game later as an epilogue of sorts to finish off the story. This is one crazy long level, where the first third introduces so many new mechanics and ideas before this crystal gate appears. This is to gate you from going any further into the level, because if you have not completed enough B and C sides, you probably don't have the skills to complete Farewell. And that's because the rest of Farewell is batshit insane. When the level was being created, the community actually helped it along. Seeing these super advanced optional moves being discovered and used by players, the developer incorporated some of these into the level. Now you have to learn how to wave dash. This is where you dive into the ground on a diagonal, press jump as you connect, and then fling yourself across a room while still being able to dash afterwards. That, combined with new environmental hazards like these exploding fish, new takes on old ideas, and many advanced moves being asked of you, it's hard as nails. Like, look at this infamous room called the Comb. How do you even? So expect to die, and die many times, hundreds, no, thousands of times if you want to see the end of this level. And to top it all off, the final screen is the biggest one in the game. A huge gauntlet of jumps and movement and precision, but finishing it, that's one of the highest honors in platforming video games, if I do say so. At the end of the day, this game is tough, but it doesn't have to be. The developers added an assist mode where you can control how many dashes you get, how much stamina you have, or even give yourself invincibility. So if you just want to see how the story goes, or if you find a room just too hard, then you can turn this on and get through it. Sure, it feels like cheating, but if that means that you are having fun and enjoying the game, then that's all that matters. Personally, I finished the game without this mode. I turned it on to see what it does, but then turned it off afterwards. Like I said, I streamed all of the B and C sides with lots of deaths and people cheering me on, and I felt so great every time I managed to finish a level. Sometimes I got annoyed, like in that comb room. It took like an hour or two to get through it. The difficulty is always fair, and aside from a few mechanics like clouds, every death was because I made a mistake. The only level I did not like was the core B side. With the new mechanics introduced there, I just did not have fun, and it was very frustrating to try and finish. But to tie everything together is this gorgeous pixel art. Nothing too crazy, but it's well done, and seeing Madeline sneeze is always funny. The music though, oh man, that never gets old. Composed by Lena Raine, each level has its own track. I never found them tiring or grating to listen to, even if I was in the same level for over an hour. They also feel connected with the leitmotif that flows in many of the songs, but I'm not great at describing music theory, so I'll just leave it there. Instead, go and listen to 2B Reflection and Resurrection. Those two are my favorite tracks in the game. In my opinion, I think that Celeste is worth it. And oh man, this was the best game that I have played in a very long time. The fair challenge, the unique story, the collectibles, the difficulty, the music, all of it is incredible. I love how the music tracks were designed to change as the level progresses. I love the feeling of finishing a room and then eventually finishing a level only to see that you died hundreds of times and you're like, wow, did I really try that many times? It was so fun to see. This is one of those games that I would recommend to almost anybody because it is such an amazing game and such a fun challenge to get through. It may be too hard for some or not for everybody, and that's okay because that's why the assist mode is there to help people get through the game. The only major gripe I had was with the core B-side, and the clouds with their bouncing mechanic. I could never quite get it right. So guys, tell me what you thought of Celeste. Did you like it? Did you hate it? How many times did you die? I died about 1 billion times. When I finished Farewell for the first time and I saw my death count, I was flabbergasted, but I also was like, yeah, that's about right. Oh gosh, it's such a great game. Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!